In this video, we're going to talk about products. So products are key to to having success with e-commerce, right? You can have the most beautifully designed website, amazing products, product photographs. You can have your marketing campaigns designed by the top experts, have Google Shopping campaigns set up by me, someone with a ton of experience with that. So having everything perfect, but that won't get you really good results. You might be able to trick some people into buying, but if you don't have your core thing, your products well dialed in, you're not going to see the returns that you need. So in this video, we're going to take a closer look at that. So in this video, I want to talk more about products, right? So I get a question a lot. Usually people starting out, they want to get my advice on where to find successful products. So actually, I'm putting those requests into two buckets. Sometimes, as I said, it's people starting out and they don't really know where to get started. So they want to do something in e-commerce, but it's unclear at that first step, right? Getting the products in a store. So many of them actually pursue the avenue of drop shipping, right? There's a lot of online catalogs, a lot of online tools and apps that make it super easy to find some products that kind of look good and add them to your store. And then all of a sudden you have hundreds of products inside your store. But the thing is, these usually aren't great products. These are usually sourced from China or other places. And they're not great products. They might not be like very poor quality, but it's certainly not something that will stop people in their tracks or things that people really need. Added to that, like if you use these tools that make it very easy to bring products into your store, your competitors might be able to do the exact same thing, right? So if it doesn't require any effort from your part, it won't require a lot of effort from your customer's part. So that's really approaching starting a new e-commerce store from like a single angle. Basically, is there search volume? Is there this? Is there that? Is it easy to find? Can I find it on a marketplace like Oberlo or AliExpress or other types of tools like that? So that's one avenue. One that I'm not a big fan of because, as I said, there's a lot of downsides to that. Doesn't mean dropshipping is bad, but those very easy sources of dropshipping are actually very hard to make it work because also the prices are lower, but more especially the margins are so low because you're selling the exact same thing as somebody else. So it's hard for you to get to that price premium. Another way to approach this is kind of thinking if you're starting a new store, thinking about like what excites you, what kind of store do you want to run, what kind of customers do you want to interact with. So many of the stores that I described before, they will sell anything from like kitchen tool to something like a product that helps baby sleep, like a very wide range, which means that the chances of you actually getting a customer and being able to work with that customer, sell them additional things, it's very low. So if you have to make all of your money from just that single transaction, it's going to be very, very hard to make that work. So I prefer the other angle where you kind of go for what interests you, which products do you find interesting, and kind of put work into finding those products. It's not an easy path, like to find products that will work and that will fit into your business. So if it was easy, there would be a ton of competition for this method. So you might have to look for suppliers, look for local suppliers, contact local businesses, actually try to find, you might be able to work out the dropshipping arrangement with them, but that makes it a lot harder. So at that part, actually, it's not easy. There's no clear-cut way on finding these products. You you could in fact like look through what is popular, what is working, and kind of and not copy them exactly or try to sell the exact same product, but kind of work on trends. Like if you see, for example, a certain trend in beauty or supplements or something, or a specific, let's say somebody's like a specific diet is becoming really popular, and you kind of see like, okay, what kind of products are people purchasing? Is this something that I'm interested in? Is this something that I'm able to offer? Maybe it's also partnering with somebody that's like a product expert, right? And they know a lot about their products. Maybe they're a reseller for products, but maybe they don't have that e-commerce part set up. And maybe you can partner with them to set up the store, set up the marketing, do all those things. So that's more from like a business point of view, or maybe like a product sourcing point of view. Besides that, there's also a couple of important things to be aware of when it comes to actually selecting a product. So I have 5 warning signs. These are things that you need to pay attention to when it comes to your products. So if you don't hit the benchmark for these warning signs, you'll make things more difficult. It doesn't mean that it's impossible to run your business. You might as well have a couple of these that actually are impossible for you to change and that are just the way you run your business. That's totally fine. That's totally possible. But if you have problems with all 5, you're going to have a very difficult time in running ads, especially because your competitors might not have these 5 same problems or kind of downsides for their business. And that will make it harder for you to compete and bid to the same level that they're bidding. So, first warning sign, it's all about the average order value. So if you're working with average order values below $50, $75, and you don't have a subscription built in, or you don't have products that are like subscription based, it's gonna be pretty hard to make things work. Personally, I run a store that sells posters, and there the average order value is anywhere between $15 or $30 or something, and the amount of profit that we actually make on each order is very, very slim. So that's even without paying for ads. So if you want to run ads, you kind of need a good buffer, and that good buffer comes from a good average order value, but also from a high margin linked with that. So if you have a high or average order value, think about ways to increase that. For me, my poster store, it's been creating bundles, trying to upsell people. I've also experimented with pushing people towards free shipping. So I know that a single poster is anywhere between, as I said, 15 to 30. So I've tried putting the free shipping barrier at 40, I think I've tried. So meaning that people have to buy multiple products in order to qualify for free shipping. It's a balance to see if people will actually purchase and how many people actually qualify for that bump. Second problem or warning sign is if you have low gross margins. So in a lot of businesses, or this is pretty linked with your business model, but if you have low margins, as I said, even if you have like a good average order value, the low margins make it very hard to actually pay for advertising on top of your product cost and still have something left at the end of the day. So there's a couple of things you can do. First of all, it's negotiate better rates with suppliers. If you're starting out, or if you're a smaller store, your leeway there might be a bit limited. Second option is like, or another way to improve margin is to look for better shipping options. Maybe you shouldn't offer free shipping. Take a look at your discounting, what you're doing there. So those are ways to kind of boost your gross margin. So if you're, for example, doing drop shipping, with sourcing cheap products from China, well, your margin is very, very slim. So if you're paying for ads, it will be hard to make that work. The third warning sign is all about search volume. So you want to sell products that actually people are looking for, and people are looking for with the intent to buy them. So if you look in any kind of keyword research tool, you'll see that people search for a lot of things, and people search for a lot of weird stuff as well. And a lot of those searches are more informational. People have no intention, with no intention of actually purchasing. So if you sell products, you want to make sure that you have a healthy search volume, that it's like worth the effort to create campaigns and spend time optimizing them. So yeah, that's also kind of where you choose your business model, right? So if you sell a particular type of products, that's more, I want to say, like if you're scrolling on Facebook and you suddenly see this gadget thing that you need to have, there might not even be a name for it. So you actually, it's hard to describe. So one example could be, I don't know, I'm just riffing here, but a huge pepper mill, right? So a pepper mill usually pretty small. So let's say you sell one for like a meter or something. Nobody in their right mind wakes up in the morning and thinks that they need a pepper mill that's like a meter long. But maybe if it was on Facebook or something, you would see it like, oh, that's a good gift, that's something original. But in search, it doesn't work that way. So pay attention to your product and whether or not it's searched for a lot. The fourth warning sign is a low conversion rate. So anything below 1%, it's not the end of the world if your conversion rate is below 1%, but it just makes things harder, right? So imagine that you're converting at 0.5% and you have a competitor that's converting at 2%. So at least 4 times better than you. That means that for the same amount of clicks, they get 4 times more sales, which allows them to invest a lot more in things like advertising. So if you have a low conversion rate, pay attention to it. Run through some of the things you can do to improve it. Site experience, install a tool like Hotjar to see what's going on, to kind of get a feeling for what's happening on the site. And you might have done all those things, and then it's kind of, there might not be an immediate jump or immediate things you can do to improve your conversion rate, but be sure to have a look at them if they're that low. And then the fifth warning sign is if you have a small product catalog. So the reason why that is important is both with shopping, but also with especially with Google search. People actually don't know what type of products that you're selling, right? So if you're selling, for example, running shoes, let's take the tired example of running shoes again. So if you're selling running shoes, people might be looking for running shoes, but actually they have a pretty good idea of what they want. They might not be a fan of really bright colors, and they might want to have something that's pretty minimalist, for example. There's tons of different running shoes. Depending on your foot type, like colors, materials, whether it's like for road running or trail running or stuff, like all those things. Like if people look for a running shoe, I don't know what they mean. So if you're advertising on those search queries and you only have a very limited selection, so let's say you're only selling trail running shoes for people with one leg. That's extreme example, but let's say that's what you do. Just advertising on running shoes, most clicks actually won't result in a sale, simply because people, they might like your product, but they are not your customers. So that's it. Those are like the 5 things I often pay attention to, and I often tell people to pay attention to as well. To make sure that, to make their life easier, and if you use those rules in your product selection, and especially when starting out, when still planning, when it's still in the concept phase, you'll make your life a lot easier. To sum up, I think there's 2 ways to find good products. One is to take a really mathematical approach, kind of look through keywords and sales reports and see what's going on. what the trends are, how you can play into them, what products other people are selling. And the second one, and doing it really from like a profit point of view. And the other thing is really like starting first with what you're interested in, or where you have expertise in, or where you have people around you that have expertise that you could partner with, and then do the first thing anyway, like do the mathematical approach. And the reason I'm such a fan of that second approach is that running an e-commerce business, starting it, getting it off the ground, it takes a lot of time, a lot of effort. Starting it is exciting, but then there's like a long path to really get it to a level of traffic, get it to a level of sales that actually can make a difference for you. So to sustain you through that period, you kind of need to be working with something that excites you, that's interesting to them. So to me, having that personal angle there, it is very important. You can feel free to disagree and pursue the other thing. It can also work, but I find that going at it with that passion can really help sustain you throughout. And then secondly, I also shared with you my tips when looking at the specific characteristics of a product. So these aren't like iron rules, but they're like good guidelines from all the companies that I've worked with. The projects, especially the projects that haven't gone well, usually it will hit one or more out of those 5 things. So pay attention to it, especially if you're in the product development phase. Maybe there is something where you can find like higher priced products, or you can go a little bit more premium, or negotiate a little bit better margin. All those different things. I've actually heard of e-commerce businesses that use their product development. They have like pretty close criteria. So more established businesses actually use this. So they might not use the exact same 5 things, but they might use other characteristics. Like I know of a company that really pays attention to the cost to ship to a customer. So they always offer free shipping. So then the cost to actually ship to a customer, it's huge. So if they have the option to sell like something that they can put of $100 that they can put into a small envelope or package and send, or they have to ship a huge container with liquids, the price is going to be so the order value might be the same, but then the actual cost for them as a business is a lot higher. So I know for them, they also pay attention to that. So I hope these tips were helpful if you're thinking about like how to find products that really work, or thinking like what other products should I add, how should I approach it. So let me know in the comments what you thought. If you found this video helpful, give it a thumbs up and consider subscribing. It really helps to spread the word of the channel. Thanks, and see you next time.